Hello, everybody, and welcome to us ranking every investigator except for Gloria Goldberg up into the Innsmouth conspiracy campaign.
Why are we ranking the Innsmouth ones and not Gloria?
Well, because her card wasn't on ARKHAM DB. So.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to rank all these investigators from S to D rank. And I was thinking we're going to have just one basic rule for this. And that's in addition to, not as our stipulations or requirements for what makes an S and all that. But we each get one veto, which means you can choose one investigator to place in any rank that you want if you are disagreeing with its current placement. We get one of those, okay?
All right.
Yeah. To start things off then, I'm not going to exercise that pattern, but I just like to suggest something.
Yeah.
So characters on the left are more powerful than characters on the right in tiers, right?
Yes, yeah.
As a general rule.
Yeah, as a general rule.
So we can start off, we can put Mandy in the S tier at the far left.
I think...
No, and that's Mark Harrigan's place.
I think this is what I was thinking about. We
can create a new U tier for Lola for unplayable.
No, I thought I was joking I should put a Lola tier, but I think we'll just keep D, but she's definitely our easiest D right?
Okay.
So this is these two I was thinking for the S ranks, that the two that I thought were obvious S ranks, because Mandy is Mandy, right? But Rex is also great without anything else. So I think to me these are the two easy S ranks. And I haven't thought much
taking into account taboo cards?
Sorry?
Are taking into account the taboo list?
I think we should.
I think Rex is better than Mandy without the taboo list.
Yes, without the taboo list, he's here, but with the taboo list, he's there.
Okay.
I agree with that. Bryn's I would like to use my veto to put Mandy to D tier.
Mandy, D. All right.
The other thing I was thinking...
Screw both of you.
That I need to be talked off a ledge, but this is also kind of what I'm thinking.
I think Jim is C tier.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think he's not.
I think he's far right C tier, but he's C tier.
Cool.
But his ability is basically just the chaos bag is easier for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But as we know, skulls don't like to show up all the time. They just
Chico, Brent, and I immediately on the same page where we're not going to put any other investigators in the D tier and just make the de facto Lola tier.
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to think if there was anyone else who I thought could be D tier, and this was the only one that was jumping out at me. But that's why I said I wanted to be talked off a ledge, right? Because
also we're doing this is what we think is the strongest, not our favorites, right? Or
correct.
Is it how
yes, this is on strength.
I still think that Mark belongs in the S tier.
I also do, actually.
In terms of raw monster fighting ability, not to mention sexiness.
The thing is, though, I don't think he's on S tier. I think he's strong. I think he's high A. But the thing, let's not put him. Can we put him back here for the time being? I want to see how everything else shapes up first.
All right.
Because he's very good.
I think Carolyn belongs in the A tier. Just off
I agree with that. Here. If Mark would be A, I think he'd be left A, far left A, if not the most left A.
Yeah.
But
I would place him leftmost S tier, but
as for sexy,
isn't it second in this ranking, Brent?
Yeah.
In which case, this would actually still be pretty accurate so far.
Yeah. Is there anyone else you think are C tiers? Because to me, another C tier would be, where is he? Where's the bastard? There you are.
Yeah,
I actually think that Norman Withers belongs down there as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, he also has 5 book, which is really good. So maybe he's more here.
I think he's highish C tier, but he's pretty mad. There's not much that he can do that other investigators can't right now.
And his ability is just a little bit of more it's he has one more card in his hand. It's not so exciting, right?
No.
But that 5 book
I think Calvin belongs in A tier.
Who? Sorry.
Yeah,
Calvin.
Calvin is very strong.
I think Father Mateo is just an easy B.
I think right now Father Mateo is low B, but he could be high B, depending, maybe even low A, depending on what kind of cards come out of Innsmouth.
Yeah, I agree. Like he has a full like cycle waiting to really make him juicy.
Yeah. I think Luke is an A.
Luke is an A?
Yeah. I think Luke is an A, like borderline. I think he's better than Carolyn, actually. His ability in Gatebox is absurdly powerful.
It's like kind of busted. It's like getting to start with a card you're not allowed to play anymore, but you also get to play it 3 times.
Yeah.
It's 3 free elusives.
Yeah, right. Like that card costs like 2 or
like
3.
You
that.
can still play cards at that location that you were at.
Yeah. I think Kelvin because he can turn a bad thing into such a good thing, right? And like his stat, he can just not die, right? But I think
his card pool is also like very strong. Spirits, even if you don't get to play like the level 5 ones, are very good.
Who do you guys think we should put leftmost of these two right now?
I think Luke's a bit better personally, but if only because he takes less setup to get going.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. Like turn 1 to 3 Calvin is actually like worse than low.
Yeah.
But like every turn after that, you're kind of just like, what do we need to do? I'm great at that.
Yeah.
I think that Roland belongs near Father Mateo.
Roland.
I agree with Preston Fairmont in C tier.
Where's my Roland?
I fucking hate that guy.
I also think Rita Young is a C or a D, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that she is worse than Jim, yes.
Yeah.
I think Jim's better than Leo.
She's her deck building pool is also like kind of not great, and she just has like a weird stat line for a red character.
And also like the thing with Finn, what makes him like good, is that his evade is free, right?
Yes.
She has to spend an action, and she attempts to like either move or like deal damage, but it's like it's not actually doing anything for the game, right? Like.
Yeah.
Green has more tricks to solve an enemy than red does in that kind of playstyle.
Speaking of Finn, I think he belongs like high B tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the free evade isn't always relevant, and his card pool is pre-meh. Also, 1 brain is like pretty tough.
Yeah, I think it's hard to make like a 1 like that kind of stat be really super high.
So
yeah.
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Diana Stanley is like either highest A tier or like lowest S tier. Sure, you only get to start the game with 1
I don't think
brain,
she's worse than Luke and Calvin.
But you just actually kind of ignore everything that the game is doing.
Yeah, I mean, a character built around
things.
saying no to the game would be pretty strong. I haven't played with her, so I can't. I've seen Bryn play with her, and she was pretty strong even when he wasn't using the ability all the way to get the cards.
So the first half of that one, I didn't read my card like an idiot. Read your cards, kids.
I think I want to put her. I feel above Calvin, just because
I think she's stronger.
They just both take time to set up, right? But purple is just a stronger card pool than red.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the difference here is that when you're in your setup phase with Diana, the game doesn't get to play either.
Yeah.
So like, sure, maybe you're not really doing that much right now, but the game isn't either.
I think that Luke is better than Diana simply on the virtue that he gets yellow cards versus blue cards.
Yeah, but you need blue cards to cancel.
I mean, I also looking at Luke,
fine too.
Like Luke having, as you said, like 3 elusives essentially, right? That's pretty strong.
It is very good.
Like put it into his kit.
And practice makes perfect with deduction.
Yeah.
Or practice makes perfect with enraptured, which is also a practice skill. It turns out to get like 2 more charges on your gate box. You just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think as well. I'm gonna ask your guys' opinion, but I feel like Daisy's a low A. The tomes are just getting stronger, and like she's just gonna keep getting stronger, and she has access to yellow cards, right?
I agree.
I just don't think she's B. I don't think she's like high A. I don't think she's like on the level of like any of these 4. But like 5 book access to books.
I think that Jacqueline Fine is like low S. Maybe high A because her card pool is like so-so.
Yeah, your card pool is actually just purple.
Cool.
I think she's very close to like Luke and Diana though.
Cool. I'm keeping the S very sacred right now.
That's fair.
But
like
All
just
right.
being able to pass the test like every turn because you feel like it's like pretty nuts.
yeah, I know it seems bonkers.
I think,
On that note, we should also talk about Wendy. Is she also?
yeah, Wendy.
Yeah.
So I think Wendy does belong in the S tier.
I also do
Like-
actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she was in
Her
our
deck-
top 5 strongest investigators, so.
Yeah, like her deck could actually just be full of blank cards, and you'd be like, I still do things.
Speaking of, can someone pull up that top investigator list so we don't look like freaking idiots?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, I embrace the disparity.
Yeah, I think
With
Jenny
its
is in this tier.
I think
would-
she's like high C.
I think
I
she's like either top of the C tier or bottom of the B tier. Like
Cool.
she's not great, but she is just good at whatever it is you choose to make her do.
And once we get everyone slotted in, we're gonna like look at each tier individually too to see if people get bumped
Yeah.
or shifted around too. So
Brent, I'm gonna do you a solid on this one. I think that William York belongs like A tier. I think he's definitely worse than Calvin, I think. I think he's like about the same area as Carolyn and Daisy, yeah. I think York's a very strong
He
investigator.
is very good. He's like, look how many teddy bears I brought. And your teammates are like, what the fuck are you doing? It's okay.
This is my backpack. It's got 3 teddy bears in it. They're like,
Yeah.
bro. You bring some guns or something? No.
we should also talk about like, so there is a little bit of a problem where we don't know like 4 of the Innsmouth investigators, right?
I'll do this really easy for you. So Trish belongs like in A tier somewhere. Amanda Sharp belongs in high B tier, I think, or low A tier, somewhere in there. I think that Sister Mary is a solid low B, high C. I think that Silas is high A, mid to high A, somewhere in there.
I think he's probably, I'd put him below Daisy.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. I mean, you haven't played with his new. We're judging these by like their new signatures, right? Because if
Yeah.
we're using the book ones, then Roland Banks gets to not be low B tier. He's probably like high B tier.
How would you say Silas is? Because it seems really good, like the new combat non-Dark Horse Silas, like with his new stuff. Do you think it's better than Daisy?
Yes, I think that. Well, not his new stuff, but I think that You Catastrophe Silas is better than Daisy. I think it's better than Carolyn. I think he's around with like Calvin and William.
Cool. I'll put him, I think, below William. I like his. The thing is, Silas Marsh, like, apart from, like, if he has the Catastrophe, it's great, but, like, Will York's just better on, like, resources. Like, he's able to just keep things going. Like, he doesn't run out as much as, like, Silas is sometimes prone to.
And Dexter Drake, I think,
We know
is
Dexter
better
Drake.
than Amanda and worse than Trish. I think Trish actually deserves to be a bit higher on this A list. I think she should be up there with, like, Luke, Diana, Jacqueline, Calvin.
Let's put her here.
I think that her ability seems insane.
Yeah.
So. Also, she gets yellow as a secondary card pool, and that's always... And being able to play yellow cards in any context is good.
Bryn, Dexter does seem very strong.
He seems, really
Where do you
good.
think he sits in the tier list?
Like, I don't think he's S tier because of his reliance on resources.
Yeah.
But you routinely get to take turns that look like you've played 7 actions.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could put him above Daisy.
Like, I think he is quite strong.
I do think he's better than Daisy.
And there's also a much better deck that could be built for him than the one I built. So
Can we squeeze in another tier between A and B there, Justin?
Yeah, sure.
Call it like A.5.
I'll go A-.
Okay. Because I think that there's like a distinct difference between like Jacqueline, Luke, Diana, Calvin, Trish, and York, and like maybe Silas and these other 3 we've got here.
Yeah, let's try this out.
Like I think that Silas and York are like kind of on the edge there, but I think that there's a distinct difference between those.
Yeah, I think like the idea is that S is like they need very little to get going, like Rex and Wendy, like to be consistently good, or are just broken.
They dominate the game like
Right.
Matty does.
And then A is like they're inherently very powerful, or they have amazing synergies that like we are aware of. There might be some we're missing. If you want to yell at us, let them know in the comments below. And then A minus is just like still good, but need a bit more to get going, right? Yeah. And then B's like strong build around, right? But on their own, they're not great. And then C is like they need work to really get going.
I think Sister Mary should be between Finn and Father Matteo there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Stella Clark belongs in the S tier.
I would say she's like A tier. I don't think she's S tier.
I've not played with her, so unfortunately I can't.
I do think she's S tier. Like, you get 3 copies of your unique asset, which is just like unexpected courage, but better in every conceivable way. The first time you often just get to play, like, your effect is you quite often just play an extra action this turn that you can do whatever you want with. Yeah. Because, you failed a test during the Mythos phase, or you failed a test that didn't matter because you're playing red cards. I think she is very powerful.
I agree that she's very powerful. I think she belongs in the tier with Jacqueline, Luke, Diana, Calvin, that sort of area.
I think she's better than Jacqueline and Luke.
I think she's about on par with them. Like, she has a pretty meh card pool, being able to play only red cards, and her stat line is like not great.
So, because I haven't played with either of them, the way I'm looking at this right now is that, say Jacqueline and Stella were on the same team, right? And you use Jacqueline's ability on a test Stella is doing. Would I choose to fail? Or would I choose to pass?
It depends what you're doing. If you have a card that cares about it.
Right? So, but like, at the same time, in my soul, I'm like, why would I feel like Jacqueline is just... Because, like, if we're, like, say it's me, you, and Bryn, right? And Bryn's like, Travis, Justin, do something, please. And then I'm Stella, and you give me your Jacqueline ability, and I choose to fail, and it benefits just me. I feel like Jacqueline just benefits more people than Stella does.
I wouldn't do that.
But this is without knowing them and without actually like playing them myself. So
the other argument I have against Stella is that, like, with regards to her stat line, she's like 3-2, 3-4. Having highest foot is like, I think we can agree that like foot is generally the worst stat to have a high score.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, as a general rule, looking from our current is partially because of card pools, but getting clues is much more important than being able to deal with monsters. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, Stella's 2 book and 3 fight means that she is going to be, also because of the quality of the fail by cards in her archetype that interact with clues versus monsters, she's inherently going to be better at dealing, or supposedly better at dealing with monsters. Like Oops is Oops is bad, and I can't remember the other one that does something. Dumb Luck is like also not great compared to something like Look What I Found. Look What I Found is pretty sweet with the 2 book, but still at the. I don't think that she can get the clues consistently enough with that 2 book to be on par with like Jacqueline and Luke and Diana and Calvin. I think that she's a good like everyman's, and her ability to get that extra action every turn for kind of free. It's not actually free, but in a lot of cases, it's functionally free.
And I think
she's better than those characters though.
5 brain mystics are set up really well, and the purple card pool is just stronger than the red card pool, and I say that as a red investigator.
Yeah, like I do think that she's worse than Wendy Adams for sure, but I think she's better than everybody else in A tier. I don't feel strongly about this enough to waste a veto on it. But
well, remember, Bryn, when we're all done, you always have your veto.
Yeah.
I strongly agree that she's part of like that pack, but I do not think she's S tier.
Do you guys think?
I also do not think she's better than Jackie.
Do you think ARKHAM in here?
I think ARKHAM's like, I think he's a little bit higher. I think he's like top with A minus.
Sure.
Yeah, like ARKHAM Pete's pretty solid without actually having spent any resources to make his deck better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your character could be killed or Driven Insane, in the second last scenario, you could show up with the ARKHAM Pete deck and you could contribute like almost a normal amount.
All right, well, let's finish the red investigators. Where do we think Patrice goes? I think she's kind of like here.
Yeah,
I think she's low A minus.
She is like a little bit gimmicky.
That desperate Patrice build is like kind of good, kind of insane though.
What do you think, Brent?
Actually, I'm not saying that I think she's bad. I'm just saying that like I think she belongs in the B tier.
I think as well, just by the rules of like you need a bit of work to like get it.
Yeah, like you can't just show up with whatever cards you want.
I think we put her there, knowing what
like if you struggle to find the St. Hubert's key, it's a little bit tough. And I think because of that, she's a little bit worse than ARKHAM Pete, but also Pete doesn't need to do the desperate gimmick to be a good character.
Yeah.
Pete also just has a sweet stat line, like off the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other characters we got?
We are doing pretty good. Let's talk
let's do yellow next.
Pardon?
Let's do yellow next.
Yeah, let's talk about Joe Diamond. I think he's like here watching you guys play him because you always groan and grumble.
I think Joe's better than Roland. I'm not.
Yeah, sorry, I just meant B tier. I didn't mean it's actually there. I think he's just like in this row.
He's like middle B tier. I'm not sure like where he compares to Sister Mary, but I think he's worse than Finn. I think he's better than Mattia.
Oh yeah, he's much worse than Finn. Even though like both of them are kind of just at the mercy of the Mythos deck, like every game you ever play.
What about Min?
Yeah. I think Min's like a minus around like slapper between like Carolyn and Dexter, somewhere in there. I think that the red card pool is what really pushes her above Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she can basically just play every red card in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not very many that she can't play.
We got Harvey and Ursula.
I think Ursula deserves to be at like the top of the B tier or the bottom of the A minus tier. Like her ability is very strong, but having only 4 in book is like
it's a bit
not quite where you want to be a lot of the time.
No, her stat line is rough and her card pool is bad. You're right. Like I would probably put her like high A minus, low A, but I have a definite cognitive bias here.
Yeah,
I got no problem to squeeze her in like below Minty Fan, around Minty Fan, below Carolyn, below Dexter, somewhere in there if you want.
I do think that she does belong with the rest of these gimmicky investigators in B though.
That's also what I'm thinking, like high B, right? Just because as I'm watching Nathan play, that 4 book really actually does matter.
Yeah,
it does mean that you kind of have to be playing stuff to buff your book because 4 isn't enough.
Yeah.
Her card pool is also like a little bit awkward.
Yeah,
like
her
being able
card
to play
pool
Relics
is
is sweet, but a lot of the cool ones are like they're not really what you want to be doing.
Yeah, like there's some neat stuff you can do with relics.
But like you would much rather just have like red or purple 0-2.
Harvey.
Yeah.
I think Harvey belongs like mid B tier.
Mid B.
I think he's a little bit better than Finn. Yeah, like right there.
Travis would know. I trust him with yellow characters.
Yeah, so like Harvey, the hand draw archetype is like pretty good, but I wouldn't play hand size with Harvey because his weakness will just kill you.
Yeah,
it's really tough, man.
That's actually what I want to know, because when we did
draw it like 2 or 3 times.
When we did our preliminary discussions, we were kind of like figuring out how Thrice Damned Curiosity, how much it matters. But Travis, how much does it actually impact the game when you're playing it for real?
So like there's like sort of 2 ways to play Harvey in my mind. There's like the hand size one, which I think is the worst version. And especially since like Mandy just does everything that you like, there's nothing Harvey could do better than Mandy in that context.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't exist. And the other one is like a more event focused play style where you just use your passive to keep yourself full. It's sort of you focus on playing more events and you just like
so you don't run out of resources.
Draw 2 cards and you keep your passive to keep you churning through it, and then eventually you hit your weakness and you're like, cool, I'll take like 1 damage, maybe 2.
That does seem a lot better.
Yeah, I think that way is pretty strong, especially with the 5 book.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's better than. I mean, Amanda Sharp. I'm having Amanda Sharp. Like my instinct is like her ability is quite good, a little gimmicky but quite good.
Mm-hmm.
When you get going, I think it's better than the Harveys. I think Patrice is better. I do think that Ursula's free action is better than Harvey Walters, in spite of his very good stat line.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Also, he does also have the card pool issue where he's only gets yellow cards.
Yeah. Bryn, why don't we do these green investigators?
Your turn, buddy.
All right.
So initially, I mean, I hear Winnie's really good. I haven't played with her.
Yeah. I haven't played with her either, but like there doesn't seem to be a green archetype that she wouldn't be good at trying to play.
Of these 4, I think Skids is the worst.
Hard agree.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Blue's not a great splash color to have.
Yeah, I think he's like, for me, he's like.
I would probably
here.
put him one lower. I think he's not much better. He's not really much better than Jenny is.
That's what I wanted to say, but
they're
I'm
like
scared.
they're about the same.
I don't know why I'm scared of Bryn when he would never yell at me, but I just was scared.
I think Skids is worse than Jenny, and I hate Jenny.
Yeah, like Jenny's just like all around versatility is very strong. Skids has something approaching that where like you got a lot of 3s on your card, and you can just take extra actions. But they're like pretty similar. His card pool is like necessary if you're going to try to fight monsters with him.
Yeah.
But
No, I just think like Jenny's cash flow, means that it's easier to mitigate her mess stats than Skids' passive.
Yeah,
for Skids, you already. You go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, there are like a lot of things you can do with Jenny that get around the fact that you're testing everything even or worse without like other cards, because playing things like Hard Knocks doesn't suck so bad when you're getting 2 resources a turn.
It's true.
Or even playing like the green permanent, you just get to activate it once a turn for free, so like you get to investigate a 6 one time every turn.
Yeah. I think the issue with Skids is like he kind of doesn't have a passive because you need to invest so many resources into playing assets to make him fight good. You need Beat Cop to give you +1 bullet or +1 punch, and then you need to pay another 3 or 4 resources for a competent weapon. And like, how often you gonna have 2 resources laying around for an extra fight action? Like,
that's what your green cards are for.
Still, I think it's just worse. That's why I think he's worse than Jay.
I do agree. I don't think he's very strong. I think Tony belongs somewhere close to Joe, somewhere in between Joe Diamond and Roland Banks. He sits in a very similar niche where, like, he does like offensively, he's incredible. He's dynamite.
Yeah,
but dynamite.
Like, he only has 5 sanity, and if the game asks you to do something, you fail it.
I think I like Tony. The free actions and 5 punch is hard to say no to.
Yeah, like he is very strong on the offensive side of the game, but you're also kind of at risk of dying very early into a scenario unless you're spending your splash slots on protecting yourself from them.
I just want to pause for a second. I think
deserves a bit better.
I think Tommy's like here.
Hang on, I want to talk about Tony real quick. I think Tony actually belongs exactly where you put Tommy. I think he's like exactly there.
Sure.
I just like 5 punch is so good, and Green does have good combat options, and like he's just. I think that his deck building flexibility is what really pushes him above some of the others there.
That's fair. You can kind of make him do whatever it is you need done, as long as it is not protect yourself from the Mythos deck.
And honestly,
even then you have some options for that, right?
Yeah, you can play red to be not terrible at it.
Or you can play yellow and play stuff like Inquiring Mind or Logical Reasoning to eat up things like Frozen in Fear and give you +2 brain.
Yeah.
Like, there's real options there.
Yeah, you can play like blue for cards like On the Hunt and
First Watch.
First Watch and Take the Initiative. So like you are pretty much spending a significant portion of the flexibility of your deck building on not dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be though as well. Like I don't think I've ever seen like such an efficient killer than Tony Morgan with a Garrote Wire. Like Bryn was like doing so much on his turns, and then like he was just killing. And like the tests weren't a problem because the 5 fist, right?
Yeah, Tony Morgan is like the investigator that Skids wishes he was.
Where do we think then Tommy? Because I think Tommy takes some time to get going, but like then when he's there, he doesn't die, which sounds like a B investigator.
No, I think Tommy's like low A-.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fair. He is like just kind of a very solid blue investigator.
I think having played him recently, I think he's like up there for one of the best supports in the game, just like walking around face tanking everything. And like especially being able to play those big assets, like playing something like Brother Xavier, and you're just like, check out, I got 4 brain, and then like your teammate gets just like mauled by a grasping hands or whatever. And you're like, this guy will take it. I'll get back, because I planned ahead. I'll get back 6 resources. Also kill that monster.
Yeah, that's very fair, Travis. I think Safina is my favorite green investigator, not counting Trish because I haven't played her. So I think she's pretty good.
It's quite the statement, Justin. Yeah. This one's my favorite, so I think she's pretty good.
I think she's like in this like, A- tier.
I would put her high A, low S, but again like this character is like actually my favorite in the game.
Travis, what do you think?
I think that Safina belongs in. I think she fits in between Yorick and Silas.
Actually, that's kind of where I was too. I was like, I think she's better than Silas, but I don't think she's better than Yorick.
Yeah.
I think she's like pretty on par with Yorick. I think those two are kind of interchangeable, but I think Trish is definitely better than them.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the part that makes her good is like the sweet defensive stat line.
Yes.
And like an incredible card pool.
Yeah.
Her card pool is great. It's a shame that it's not reversed though.
Yeah, if it were the other way around, she might actually be a little bit better. Although as we get more and more green cards, she gets better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the 13 card starting hand. Sure, you might not get to mulligan, but it doesn't matter. You've seen more cards already than you would have if you got to mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
No, that is pretty sweet. Especially when your character's so reliant on double.
Yeah.
Well, you're not actually reliant on double at all. Like there's a couple of different fairly powerful Safina builds that you can play. Double is just like cool and flashy.
Oh no, like a double I think is just like her peak power level in my opinion.
It's strong, but it's not necessarily the best thing that she can be doing even. Like you have a lot of solid options.
I think if Safina got to start every game with double in her opening hand, she would be significantly higher on this list.
Oh. Yeah, but like if any green investigator got to start every game with double in their hand.
Oh, you're telling me that Skids is really good with double?
I'm telling you, he could be.
I put Mark up here. I sat on it for a bit, and I'm like, yeah.
I think
Mark
he is
can
actually
do anything.
Yeah, like so. Firstly, you just have practically infinite unexpected courages whenever you want them, and they draw you a card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the stat line, baby.
Yeah.
His stat line is sick. His personal weakness doesn't even do anything.
Because then it also falls into the realm of like that. Like these ones, he's just ready to go at the start of the game. That's why as well. Even like I think Jacqueline also could be low S tier as well. But I don't know. I don't want to commit to that until I actually play her. But she just reads very powerful. Mm-hmm. Winnie.
No, I haven't played with her. I think she's very good. Winnie, I think Winnie deserves to be. I think she's an A tier.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she deserves to be top of the A- or like somewhere in the middle of A.
I still think that she's worse than Trish. I think that she's pretty. I want to say I think she deserves that little pack we got with like Yorick and Safina, kind of. Like getting a free card every test, in theory, is like really good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the crossed arm gang. They're ready and their arms are crossed.
She is really bad if you have a smaller collection, because
this is true.
Green cards are not good.
Okay.
There are a lot of very bad green cards, and she can only play green cards. Of course, when you have her, it means you have her starter deck, which helps to offset that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like one brain is like a little rough.
I think Zoe's the second best blue investigator.
Yeah, Zoe's really good.
So then she would be in here somewhere?
No, she's better than Carolyn.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's like around Silas.
Yeah, normally the thing that blue investigators struggle with is cash flow, and Zoe does not.
Yeah.
This is true.
Nathaniel Cho.
Actually, I think Zoe deserves to be a bit higher. I think Zoe deserves to be like, again, up with the Yorick, Safina area.
Sure.
Because especially with the introduction of Sixth Sense and her 4 brain, she can get clues very consistently now as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, like with cards like Evidence and Safina are effectively cheaper for her to play because you have to have been engaged with an enemy for them to work.
And I mean, like, as well, Zoe has the handle on 1 health enemies when she has her cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like, that's so big.
Yeah.
Massacre rats all day, baby, or cultists. You show up and they're just like,
I don't want to be here anymore. Good. I don't want you to be here anymore either.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Cho. He's very strong. But, like, he's also kind of dependent. Actually. Sorry?
Yeah.
I think it's a good place for him, actually. He really struggles with, outside of, like, big 1-2 punch or having a counter punch, he really struggles with dealing with 4 or 5 health enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Also, his personal weakness is, like, not great, because it basically costs you for reaction.
Yeah, it basically takes your turn. Yeah. It's not something that's, like, you're not going to, like, it takes a turn away, which can really just throw you out of loop. All right, we have 3 investigators remaining, Marie, Akachi, and Agnes. Who do we think is the best of these 3?
I think Agnes is probably the strongest one. Tesla's damage is a hell of a drug.
I think on that note as well, just by the very nature, if we just look at these guys, she's probably in the B. She takes some time to get going, and she also only has 4 brain. Like, I think she's inherently stronger than some of these people because of her purple card pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's in here.
Yeah, I think she's worse than Finn.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would put Agnes like somewhere in the A- tier.
I think Akachi and Agnes are both in the A- tier.
Yeah. Like, I think Agnes is like close to the top. I think Pete is like stronger than her as an investigator, but not by much. Also, then she's right next to Carolyn.
What about Akachi? What do we think?
Akachi's very strong. Unless you're not playing assets with charges, in which case she's very bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so Akachi also kind of has like a little bit of a weird card pool.
Yeah.
I think that Agnes is like one worse than Carolyn, personally.
Sorry, Travis?
I think Agnes is one worse than Carolyn. Is a little bit worse than Carolyn.
I think that's fair.
I think Carolyn's just so flexible that it's really hard to. Like, that's the same reason that Pete's got that top spot in A- tier, right? They're just so flexible. They have, like, sort of a high skill ceiling.
Yeah.
Or, like, efficiency ceiling. But they're, like, they just do what they do from the start of the game, for the most part. And then they're very versatile at what they can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Akachi, I think Akachi belongs down in the B tier. Like, the extra charges is nice, but especially with, like, the introduction of Twyla, kind of any investigator can kind of do what she does, but with a better card pool.
Yeah.
And she does have a very good stat line going up for her, though.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her weakness is, like, fairly soft and easy-ish to deal with.
Do you think, like, maybe here?
Yeah. Also, I think that Marie Lambeau belongs in the C tier.
Oh, what a twist!
I don't like. So the biggest point against her, I think, is besides her she's got kind of weird deck building restrictions, but her stat line's kind of garbage.
Yeah, 4/4.
Like having 4 in brain and 4 in book. It's not like Luke where you can use Enraptured or like you want to be making book tests. It's just like, why wouldn't you just play good brain spells? And if you're just playing good brains, like, why is the 4 book there?
Mm-hmm.
It does nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and as purple, it's especially brutal because you're going to be using your brain for everything. It's not like somewhere like Min where she can investigate and defend herself, right? Like this.
No, you just want the brain. Like, what are you using the book for? Like, you can play yellow cards 0, like up to 10 level 0 yellow cards or red cards, I think. But like, what are you using it for? It's a nice thing to have, like, for a smaller collection. But once you have a full collection, why would I do that as opposed to playing something like Rite of Seeking Clairvoyance to get my clues, or playing Sixth Sense and then using cards to buff my brain, which I can also use for combat or for things like Test of Will or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like, oh, I'm going to investigate with my book. Woo. And the free action is nice, but the free action is good in a lot of cases.
Yeah, but it's also like a tough to hoop to jump through, and then it also puts like things at risk, right? And then there's also Baron Samedi. Like, let's talk about him for a second.
Baron Samedi may or may not have been like MVP the last time I played Murray, because I didn't have but that's only because I didn't get to pick cards to put in my deck.
Yeah. Do we like, this is gonna sound crazy, especially as someone who was almost putting Jim in the D, but just looking at like stat list, is Jim, like, just at stats, like, is his stats better than hers?
Like, her stat line is pretty trash.
I think his stats are better than hers, but I still think that Marie's ability is better than Jim's.
All right, that's fair. Do we think she's like worse than any of these guys here? I think Jenny might be better than her.
Skids.
No one's worse than Skids.
According to our list, 6 people are.
Yeah, it's like basically no one.
I don't know. Like, there's kind of like a conglomeration of people. Like, it's like Joe, Sister Mary, Matteo, Roland Banks, Jane Barnes, Mary Lambeau, who could almost be like a B- tier or like a C+. But I don't know. It's a pretty fair place for her, I think.
All right. I don't see a need to veto anything. I'm happy with this list.
Preston to the tippy top.
Surprise, boys.
Money can buy you everything.
Yeah.
Is Leo worse than Skids?
That 1 foot is pretty rough.
I just think, like,
he does have like a much better card pool for what he's trying to do, though.
I just hate Leo, man. Is he worse than Skids, though? That's the question. I actually now...
So, like, Skids' weakness doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
Sure, his unique asset doesn't either, but neither does Leo's. Leo's weakness can actually just cripple you. Like, if you hit it and you've got 3 allies in play and you don't have any in your hand, you're just like, uh-oh.
Leo's ability, I feel like, is a lot better than Skids. Also, Leo actually gets, like, 4 punch.
Yeah.
Also, there's, like, the consideration that, like, so cards that test your foot typically do hard damage, and cards that test your brain typically do brain damage. And so, when you have more hearts than brains, is it not better to have more brain than foot?
So what do you think of Travis? More something like this?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, sure.
What do you think of that, Bryn?
Veto Skids to the top.
Like, this C tier is hard to order to, because they all have like, very defined strengths, but they're also different from each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of just like everyone in the C tiers except for Rita is kind of on the same level. I just don't like Rita.
We can put Rita down in the Lola tier if we want.
Yes, thank you.
She's definitely better than Lola, but she could live down there.
I have never felt more useless than when we did Circle Undone, and I was like, I will jump off this enemy. All right, I'll jump off this enemy. Okay, I'll jump off this enemy, and then we'll just do this again next turn, because I actually didn't contribute to the game state.
What have we learned from this list? That having foot as your best stat is kind of garbage.
Yeah.
Well, I think Rita is has gotten better. There in the last cycle, there are a bunch of green tricks that allow you to add your foot to another stat.
Yeah, no, she definitely. I think she needs another shake, but I think I think I'm happy with her here.
Yeah, I think her deck building is pretty soft.
Yeah, her deck building's meh, and her unique ability is trash, dude.
Yeah, and her unique card.
Her stat line is so. She's got 3/2/3, which is pretty fine. Mm-hmm. I think it might be 3/2/2. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, I think this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let me zoom out so people can see the whole thing at once. And I think that's also I think a very well balanced. The thing about tier lists for me personally, I hate it when everyone's when their tier lists are it goes longest, second longest, third longest, fourth longest, right, like this. This is a good, I think, balanced tier list for where everybody belongs. I think
we also did a good job of being relatively objective about most of the characters.
Yeah.
Veto Preston to the top.
You're actually gonna you cannot.
No.
In good conscience, put Preston higher than Mark.
No.
Yeah.
That's why
there's nothing Preston does better than Mark.
That's why you have to use your veto to put Mark above Preston.
So for everyone watching at home, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any recommendations for this is a video that we had lots of fun doing, and I would do more. I'm going to do one for ranking all the scenarios as well, so we'll buckle up for that 2-hour-long video sometime in the future.
Oh my god.
But if there's anything else you want to see us make a tier list for, please let us know in the comments below. In addition, I'm also going to link this tier maker for you at home that you can make your own tier list and share as well in the chat to show if there's any big differences. And hopefully I don't see if I see more than 5 people in your S rank, I'm going to be questioning your list, because I'm telling you, more than 5 people aren't S rank in most things. So deal with it. Bye, YouTube.